Okay, let's go ahead and dive right into the key selling points for those that are already implementing a group health plan. Now, this will be pretty much everyone in the 50 or more employee category, and a good portion of those in the under 50 employee category who have chosen to implement something even though they didn't have to. Here are some of the key selling points that will be most effective with these groups. First up, what if I told you that health insurance isn't as effective a recruiting or retention tool as you think it is? Now, some of you will be surprised that the first key selling point here isn't about all of the cost savings that the CommonCare solutions can offer. And the reason for that is because there's something that a lot of employers, not all, but a lot, will consider to be more important than the price of the health insurance premiums that they're paying. And that is how effective a recruiting and retention tool, whatever benefits package they're offering, is. And here's why. It's because every employer has a total compensation budget available for their employees. So as an example, let's say that an employer is hiring a new employee and they have $100,000 available to compensate that employee. But since they have over 50 employees and they have to offer a group health plan, they think that means they have to offer group health insurance. And let's say group health insurance is going to cost 10 grand a year in an employer contribution. How much are they going to be able to advertise that they're compensating that employee? $90,000 plus benefits. So in some sense, the only difference that paying $10,000 per year in health insurance premiums versus, let's say, if we could bring it down to 5, the only difference that that makes to the employer is how easy it is to recruit and retain employees with that compensation arrangement. The total compensation budget that they have for that employee hasn't changed at all. It's still just $100,000. It doesn't matter if you could bring their health insurance costs all the way down to zero, they still have the same budget available for each employee. But what we can do is give them a much better recruiting and retention tool than what they're currently using. And as a side effect, it is cheaper, but that won't matter as much for a lot of employers as the fact that it is better. Which leads right into the second key selling point, which is, what if there were non-insurance solutions that your employees would prefer over traditional health insurance? And this is important because when we do talk about the cost savings that come along with some of these alternative solutions, one of the first things that a lot of employers will wonder is, well, how are my employees going to react to this? It's always nice to cut down on costs, but the last thing any employer wants is a full-on rebellion from their employees over health benefits. So it's important to note that all CommonCare solutions have been designed to, yes, save money, but also increase employee choice and also transparency between employers and employees and how their compensation is distributed. And this leads us directly into the third key selling point, which is, what if instead of pigeonholing all of your employees into one or maybe two health insurance policies that may or may not fit their needs, they were able to choose how to route their total compensation package between traditional insurance options, alternative non-insurance health benefit options, and cash in lieu of benefits. Because the honest truth of the matter is, traditional health insurance policies are really only ideal for the least healthy employees at a company. Everyone else would be better served for a much cheaper price by some of the alternative options that are still ACA compliant. And even for those employees that are high healthcare consumers, a lot of them may already be covered by a spouse's plan, and getting a second insurance policy through their place of work is redundant and doesn't really help them. Instead, being able to show your employees, here is your total compensation package, and you have the option. Would you like a major medical policy? Would you like some of these more creative options? Or would you like 100% of the cash that we have available to pay you as cash? Now you can begin to see why this is a much better recruiting and retention tool than just the traditional use it or lose it insurance policy. The fourth key selling point is, what if this more transparent, flexible approach to group health plans also lowered the employer contribution required to between $0 and $100 per employee per month? Now, this is going to be much lower than whatever the current employer contribution is for their existing health insurance policy. But it's true that when you don't just let an insurance company dictate the structure of your group health plan, you can design it in a way where you can give employees different options so they can choose exactly what they want at the same time that the employer contribution amount is significantly reduced. And employers don't have to feel bad about this, because if they want to be generous, they can still give their employees pay raises and then let their employees choose how to direct that money, versus what is currently considered as generous, which is providing, extensive health benefits beyond just the bare minimum requirements. But is that really the most generous option for all employees? Chances are very low that the employer will be able to effectively deduce how every single employee would choose to spend that money given the option. The fifth key selling point is an important one that a lot of employers will be wondering, which is, now what if this more flexible, more cost-effective solution was 100% ACA compliant and effectively replaced the need for traditional group health insurance as it stands? That's not to say that you can't provide options for your employees to still purchase health insurance if they'd prefer, but the key part of that is if they prefer. For those that don't, there's a bunch of other options that employers can offer that are still ACA compliant, even though they're not traditional health insurance policies. This is something that will shock a lot of employers, because it's kind of common understanding that the definition of a group health plan is limited to just group health insurance. A lot of people treat those as synonyms, even though they're completely different. And the sixth and final key selling point is, what if these more creative solutions also put you in control of your claims data and history, effectively giving you a medical credit score that could be used in the future to get much more cost-effective health benefits solutions? You see, when employers go through a traditional group health insurance policy, the insurance company owns their claims data. But that's crazy, because it is extremely valuable data for the employer to have access to, because it effectively gives them, like we said, a medical credit score that allows them to negotiate better rates in the future, and will also be their ticket into some of the more comprehensive and robust direct care solutions that CommonCare will be rolling out in coming years. So as a recap, here are 6 of the main key selling points for employers who are already implementing a group health plan. First, what if I told you that health insurance was not as effective a recruiting and retention tool as you think it is? Second, what if there were non-insurance solutions that your employees would prefer over traditional health insurance? Third, what if instead of pigeonholing all of your employees into 1 or 2 insurance policies that may or may not meet their needs, they were able to choose how to route their total compensation between traditional health insurance, more creative non-insurance alternatives, and cash in lieu of benefits? Fourth, what if this traditional approach to designing group health plans cost much less than traditional health insurance, only between $0 and $100 per month in an employer contribution? Fifth, what if these other plans were 100% compliant with the ACA and could completely replace what most people consider to be just dead-end insurance policies? Sixth, what if these more unorthodox solutions put you in control of your claims history, giving you essentially a medical credit score that you can use to get even more cost-effective group health plan options in the future? Now, obviously, this is not a conclusive list. There are a lot of different angles and approaches that you could take. Every employer is different. Not all of these will resonate with every employer, but these are 6 of the most effective key selling points that you'll want to be very familiar with and keep in mind as you approach businesses that are already implementing a group health plan. So hopefully it's helpful to see some examples of talking points that you may want to hit as you're discussing CommonCare solutions with businesses. Now, no matter how good a job you do in talking about this with businesses, everyone is going to have some questions or some objections. So be sure to check out the objection response guides that we've attached, going over the different objections and potential responses that you may want to have on hand as you're discussing this, both with the smaller groups that are not implementing group health plans and the larger groups that already are.